What's going on? We are back for another live edition of the Lead Close podcast, the pregame show. The Dodgers looked at their wild cards tonight and to the NLDS. We're going to chat all about it. A special guest with us today, Steve Webb. He's a written version of our online content here at Bleed Los. It all goes hand in hand. He'll be game one last night, his thoughts on the season, analysis on what we can expect going into the rest of the playoffs. We also have Anthony in the house, producer Roger over at our stadium, getting all of our pregame and post-game interviews and video behind the scenes. I'm Drea. Before we get into all of it, make sure to tell you about DodgersBeat.com. Stay up to date in the know with all of the latest and most comprehensive coverage of the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's your one stop for articles, interviews, contests, merch, and more. Never miss a beat.
Oh. Well, I guess I'll take over from now. So Drea is unfortunately having technical difficulties. What a way to start the show, Steve. What a way to start the show. Hopefully we'll have her back anytime soon. But I guess we'll
bad
hop
omen
into
there, but we'll be okay. We'll be okay. We can do a duo here until she's back online.
I guess we'll start by recapping last night for those people who missed it. I don't know who exactly would miss it, but your thoughts about Game 1's performance last night.
Well, I mean, these were the 2025 Dodgers we've been hoping to see all year, right? Except for one.
Oh no, I think I lost Steve. Yeah, I think I lost Steve too. Well, this is going to be the solo Anthony show today, I guess. Let's see. We can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. My thoughts about game. Oh, we're getting Drea back. Oh, we're getting Steve back. Oh, there we go. I thought this was going to be the solo YOLO Anthony show today. But yeah, we're off to a flying start here on the Bleed Lows podcast. But I'm glad to have you guys both back.
Well, hopefully it's not a bad omen for tonight. But yeah, Wi-Fi and tech, you never know. They're going to be weird sometimes. But hi, Steve. How are you? I was trying to introduce you a second ago. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. I don't think I see. Can you hear me, Anthony?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. So Steve will kind of jump in too. Going to introduce our guest. Sorry if you couldn't hear me before, but yeah, Steve from DodgersBeat.com. Want to make sure that he gets all his takes from last night. But until he can hear us, Anthony, how are you doing after you got a good night's rest, hopefully after our bullpen fiasco?
I did. So it was a good night's rest. Let's see. I was able to just kind of ignore the game today, kind of secondary and back of the mind. I think it helped that we won yesterday. So had we been down 0-1, I think I would have been more stressed coming into tonight. But we won last night. So all the pressure, like I see it, it's on the Reds tonight, not on us.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to close it out because I really feel like I don't want them to burn Ohtani tomorrow if that's going to be the plan to pitch him. So I'm hoping that we can, make a battle plan for the Phillies. Hi, Steve.
Hey, talk fast, I guess.
I'm going to go fast. I talk fast anyway, but we're going to try and do this. How are you, Steve? I wanted to you probably may have already talked about this when I was coming back in, but yeah, how are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing good. I was saying, I don't know how much you caught before I disappeared, but I was saying that last night, it looked like the 2025 Dodgers we've been expecting to see all along, right? Except for that eighth inning, which was a bit of a horror show. But I mean, we got a great start. We got great hitting. It was what this team was advertised as at the beginning of the season. And it was that 8-0 team that came bursting out of the gate. And it was a little bit sad that it took this long for them to show up, and I feel good about tonight. I think, on paper, it's a slam dunk win for the Dodgers. I mean, Yoshinobu Yamamoto versus Zach Littell is like, that's a David and Goliath that year. I feel like the best shot the Reds had was last night. Hunter Green, their best pitcher, somehow beating the Dodgers, and then they had a puncher's chance. Now I don't think they have any shot at all. And now I might have to eat my words after tonight, but I just don't see the Reds coming back in this one.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of an overmatch after we watched last night. But what I like about them playing the wild card after watching is I'm thinking they didn't lose the momentum. I almost feel like, not to knock the Reds, but it was a really good way for us to kind of still fine tune a little bit before we go into the remainder of the playoffs, because it's looking like there's a really good chance we could take tonight and get some rest. But last night, as I was going through all the footage again and kind of rewatching everything and thinking about it, I was looking back. Anthony, did you catch the Justin Dean catch? I don't think I fully locked into it last night, but after watching it, I'm like, God, if he had just made that catch, we wouldn't have had to be dealing with the bullpen situation. I don't know. What do you think about Justin Dean? Was he the right choice to put in the game at that point?
I think he just overran the ball. First playoff game, kind of defensive replacement, and you saw it in his face too when he slid and kind of hit the palm of his hand. Like, I probably should have had that one. I think it was just the adrenaline was just too up in him, and he kind of just botched it. I don't really see it more as like he made this grand error, but in the grand scheme of things, I think he kind of just was too hyped. He kind of you have to hype yourself down, because if you kind of go out there and I think with the Reds ended up seeing, because they had a throwing error as well too, where the guy in right field kind of threw it into the Dodgers dugout. I think it's kind of just antsy. These guys are kind of antsy the first time they ever experience the major league playoffs, and it's kind of just a big moment for a lot of these players because they've never really had played in the playoffs before. They don't know exactly what it's like or what it feels like, and you kind of go out of your way and do things that you don't necessarily would do in the regular season. So you kind of have to calm yourself down a little bit when you go into the game.
That's kind of what I was thinking when I had these thoughts today about Enriquez and you had the role rookies. We won't talk about Vesia just yet, but you had these guys who really don't have a lot of playoff experience. A lot of they're Dodgers, but this is a whole different level when you're in the playoffs. And do you think, Steve, that's kind of just that first game jitters of really not having experienced the playoffs before that really got to them and really kind of contributed to their inability to really throw strikes?
Well, yeah, it certainly didn't help. I think, both Dreyer and Enriquez have very limited experience in the big leagues. I was hoping for a little bit more out of Vesia last night, but he just didn't have it. And I think Dreyer sort of, recalibrated and was able to end the inning at least without further damage. But I think Enriquez, I would put it down to nerves. I think he's been a good pitcher for us for most of his outings. And as long as he can, keep the ball under control. And, to be honest, I don't think those guys are going to get into the game tonight. I think they've got a loaded bullpen now. And I think Alex Vesia and Jack Dreyer and Edgardo Enriquez will be watching from the sidelines, because I have a feeling that if they get a lead, they're just going to do a piggyback with Sheehan or something like that, and just try to ride the whole thing and take it to the house. I might be wrong about that, but I have a feeling that if they get a lead and a 6th, 7th inning, I don't think Roberts is going to mess around with these, a little shaky arms that he's got in his bullpen. I think he's just going to throw a starter out there and say, finish the game for me.
Yeah, I think so. We saw his face yesterday, and Roberts looked a little frustrated because at the end of the day, when people blame Dave Roberts, he can only throw out what he's given. He only has so many pieces to work with. And I think that there is a grand master plan for the whole playoffs, and each man plays their role. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing them tonight. I think that we're going to definitely have to see a piggyback.
And in his defense, he had an 8-run lead. I mean, who are you going to throw out there? You're not going to throw your A relievers out there when you have an 8-run lead. You should just throw some people that are going to eat the rest of the game up. So, it should have worked. It worked basically because they won the game, but it was just a little frustrating, those 3 runs on very few hits.
Yeah, I fully agree. Anthony, you and I have gone back and forth all season about, your bullpen dog meter. And earlier today, Dave Roberts had a pregame presser saying that he still trusts Vesia. Do you still trust Vesia, even after last night's blunder?
Man, he's kind of teetering tottering for me. There's times where he does look like he has it, and then there's times where he really, really struggles, and I'm like, we have to get someone up and warming up, just because I'm afraid it's going to spiral out of control. And listen, I mentioned it last night. I'm hoping he's not overcompensating for that oblique injury he suffered late in the season. I'm hope he's 100% healthy. I know obliques are very tricky kind of situations, but Vesia at this point for me, it's kind of like when I hear his music and I see him come out, I'm like, this could go either way. And it's kind of the roles kind of reversed because now when I see Blake Trinan and I see him come out, I'm like, Blake Trinan's gonna find a way to get out of this inning. It might be messy, it might be bumpy, but he's gonna put up a zero. And I right now I don't feel the way with Bessie. I kind of feel like the way I did with Blake Trinan earlier in September compared to now.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the whole bullpen scares me. I mean, it's just been such a roller coaster with them this season, and I just feel like they may have moments where we're like, "Ooh, we can." I'm confident in them again, but they're so fleeting, and it just scares me. And I see we haven't really had a chance to pick your brain all season because you're joining us tonight. But I kind of want to just get your take on what do you feel has been like the biggest reason why the Dodgers have struggled so much in the season as a whole. We kind of back and forth about how, obviously we won the World Series last year. There's a lot of fatigue there. And we started early going into, getting ready for the Tokyo series. What has been the Achilles heel in your mind? Why we have had such a tough, frustrating season?
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit funny to know we win the NL West and it's been a tough, frustrating season.
Yeah.
But there are many teams that would trade places with the Dodgers right now. But it was a tough, frustrating season because we know of the potential of this team and we know it wasn't living up to it. And it was, I think. Injury had a lot to do with it, of course, but I think a lot of it was just a lack of focus. And I don't know if you put that on Roberts or you put it on, the Tanner Scott situation was a good 5-10 wins right there. It was just a lot of things that should have gone better that didn't. I mean, I don't think Roberts was making the wrong moves. I mean, Tanner Scott comes with a clean resume and he should be able to take down the innings that he was given because they weren't overusing him. But I mean that was a huge problem. And just closing out games. It seemed like they would get ahead and they would lose focus and they would let the other team back in, whatever that team was. And playing down to their competition. I mean, how many times did we lose to sub 500 teams? I mean, we got swept by the Angels, got swept by the Pirates, got the 2 out of 3 to the Orioles. Yeah. I mean, that was like the low point of the season, right? When we lost that no-hitter on that Saturday night. But you can only think that you don't get swept by the Pirates unless you're not focused because they are a better team than the Pirates by far.
For sure.
They're a better team than the Angels by far. But so what do you think it is? It has to be that they're just not locked in every single night. It reminds me, and Laker fans will remember this, when the Lakers had like their super team. And they had Gary Payton and they had Karl Malone and you remember those days, right? And they ended up going all the way to the finals that year. But every night it felt like, when are they going to lock themselves in? When are they going to focus and win the game? And they eventually did, and they won a lot of games that year. But that's kind of the feeling I had for this team is like they just didn't have that killer instinct every single night. And that probably more than anything else led to the results that they saw over the summer.
Yeah, like what you said about other franchises would kill to have our problems, because yeah, there are first world problems, but at the same time, the Dodgers franchise, the Dodgers just organization as a whole, it is really World Series or bust. We don't go just for the division or the pennant. Yeah, those are great, but we want to get the title. And it just seemed like so many things were like, it's almost like we were shooting our own selves in the foot. And that was kind of frustrating to watch night after night. Now, I'm so glad we're in the playoffs, but one would argue that we should have had our bye, but I think we're going to be okay. But I feel like I aged, I don't know, 10 years in this. Anthony, do you feel like you aged a whole decade or more?
It's been a rough 2 months. July and August were not good.
Yeah, we're kind of spoiled as Dodger fans because I really don't remember. Well, the 2018 season was pretty brutal. Because I think they started 16 and like 26 or something like that. Just an awful record, but that's coming off a World Series appearance. It should have been victory appearance, but I can't remember the last time I seen a team where it just felt like I was doing homework every night. It felt like,
Mhm.
okay, like we're up 3-2 going into the ninth. Can we get three outs? And most oftentimes than not, we couldn't. We couldn't get three outs. We'd ended up finding a way to losing it. I actually liked his analogy of that Laker team. That's the first ever like Laker team I ever did watch. And growing up, I was told the Lakers are what they do is win championships. Like this is the standard, and they didn't win the championship that year. And I
No, they
got
did.
greeted, but nothing by losing seasons following that. So I feel like this Dodger team on paper has the talent to repeat. The issue is that they don't turn it on, don't lock in, and a good team is going to end up capitalizing on their mistakes. Like I said last night, the Reds, I don't think are going to end up capitalizing on our mistakes, but a good team like Philadelphia, if you match up against them next series, is not going to forgive our bullpen mistakes or little errors that we make here and there. They're going to capitalize it similar to what we did last year to the Yankees in the World Series. That's the reason why, one of the main reasons why we ended up winning that World Series, because the Yankees were making a lot of mental mistakes, and a good team is going to punish you for those.
Yeah, and we're going to see that soon. If we hit the Phillies, which we're all expecting to, they're watching these games like a hawk. They're like seeing where's the weakness in the Dodgers, and there is no way we're going to have I don't, maybe we will, but a 10-run lead. You don't put up a 10 spot often in playoffs, and they're just waiting to expose our weakness, and they're going to be able to do it, unlike the Reds are probably able to. So that is my biggest concern right now, but we'll see how they do tonight. We're going to see obviously some Roberts adjustments, but there are definite positives from last night's game. So kind of just, I haven't had a chance to talk to you, Steve, about Shohei. I mean, if we could type in what is the best player you could ever create into Chat GPT, would Shohei Ohtani be like the first thing to come out?
I mean, pretty close. I mean, Francona did kind of identify what they thought was his weakness today and said, he's a great hitter, but he's got 185 strikeouts. And that really is the only Achilles heel of Shohei Ohtani is the strikeouts are a little high. But I mean, other than that, what else do you need from the guy? I mean, I'd love to see him just go off the whole postseason. I mean, last year he had injury and he had a lot of sort of subpar performances. And I mean, he had that big home run in the first game against the Padres, but it wasn't much after that. And so you're kind of really hoping that he can kind of sustain it for 3 weeks straight here and just carry through that momentum. We're hoping anyway. I think with Shohei, you just have to sort of marvel at the guy, and it'll be the interesting thing about Ohtani is how are they going to pitch him? Because if the Dodgers win tonight, and we hope they will, then that would put Ohtani maybe pitching a game 1 in Philadelphia or a game 2. I don't know. It really feels like he needs that day off after the start. So that would be maybe a game 2 and throw Glasnow in game 1, maybe. And then have Yamamoto and Snell pitch back in LA. That might work, and then you would have maybe you'd have enough days off so Otani could pitch again in a game 5. But it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with Otani pitching wise if they win this game. If they don't win, it's an easy decision. You pitch Otani tomorrow. But if they win, that's an interesting problem to have. What are they going to do and where are they going to pitch him?
How do you feel about Otani coming out of relief, and do you see them doing that more on the later ends of the playoff series?
Yeah, maybe. Roger asked Bob Nightingale about that today, and he said that he thought maybe toward the end to close out a series, maybe like an NLCS or something like that. I don't think he's going to pitch in relief in this series for sure. And I don't think he's going to pitch in relief against the Phillies if that series happens. We hope it does. But I could see him pitching in relief to close out a series against, say, Milwaukee, the Cubs, or the Padres. I think they could use him if it's one of these 7-game knockdown drag out kind of series. I could see Otani coming in relief in a game 7 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they use him later on. So just the key is obviously getting there. But today on the MLB Network, Mark DeRosa said that, quote, "I don't want anyone to take it for granted. We are watching the greatest baseball player that will ever play." And I think that whether you're a Dodger fan or not, whether you're a Dodger hater, you got to admit this is just a golden era of baseball in general for getting to see such an incredible player. And I think a lot of people just want to see him in the playoffs as long as possible, especially in the country of Japan, who are really having a keen eye on all of the footage and all of the games each day in and day out. So super exciting. But yeah, we have Yamamoto on the mound tonight. And Anthony, is he going to get run support? What do we think?
God, I hope so. I feel like he's just going to pick up where he left off. He was the pitcher of the month in September. I think we're just going to turn the page, and his start here is going to be his typical, normal, dominant self. The issue is, he doesn't really get run support, but I feel like today's game, at least this is just my own personal feel, I think it's going to be a lot more closer night game, but I do think the Dodgers are going to nail it out at the end. I think it's going to be, if I give a score prediction, I think it's going to be either a 4-1 game or 5-2 game, kind of like that kind of deal, just because past history, Dodgers don't give Yamamoto that run support. We scored a ton of runs last night, and that kind of scares me going into this game. But I still think the Dodgers I'm confident in them winning tonight. I'm confident in Yamamoto having that ball. He said it himself. He's more confident he is now compared to where he was last postseason. Again, he didn't really have a MLB postseason, and now he has one underneath his belt. Won a World Series, helped lead this team to a World Series. So I really don't think he's going to be out there kind of sweating bullets. I think he's just going to go out there and just treat it as a regular, normal game and kind of go out there and dominate.
Yeah, and he dominated the Reds earlier in the year, right? He was really good against the Reds. I think it was in Cincinnati that he pitched against them. But I think he went 7 with maybe 1 or 2 runs, something like that. So I would expect more of the same from him tonight. And, another thing you have to consider, and I don't know how long Francona is going to go with Zach Littell, but Zach Littell has given up the second most home runs in Major League Baseball this year, right? 36. That's a ton of home runs. And he's facing a home run hitting lineup that just hit 5 last night. So I got to think that it'll be all hands on deck from that bullpen. And I mean, it's nice that we really kind of banged the bullpen around a little bit last night because maybe some of those guys like Barlow or something like that. I mean, I'm sure he's going to pitch even if he's pitched the night before because it's do or die for the Reds. So, and I'm sure you might see I don't know, you might even see Nick Lodolo out there tonight, and And so I'm sure they're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at the Dodgers. So, I don't expect Littell to be in there much beyond the third or fourth inning. And, if we get him out before that, all the better. I think Yamamoto is probably hoping to do 7 just like Snell did last night. And that would be really good if he did.
I think the starting pitchers are like well aware of the situation, and you can see them pushing themselves. You could tell that Snell was like locked in, like I'm going to go as long as I can. I think all of them know the situation. I mean, Anthony, should we just get a complete game shutout from Yamamoto and then not have to worry about it at all?
That would actually be awesome if he just went complete game shutout. Yeah, just
Yeah, I would
relieves the
take
pressure.
that.
That would also be one of his I know he had a signature moment last year, kind of game 2 of the World Series, but that would also be one like a personal level. Like if he just went out there and threw like 9 innings of like 3-hit ball and that was it. Kind of go old school. You don't really see
Yeah,
complete
yeah.
games anymore.
I doubt. I mean, he'd have to have this pitch count really in order for that to happen, because I think playing the long game, Roberts wouldn't let him go much past 100 pitches tonight. So he really has to throw a Maddox, or I don't think it's going to happen. But it would be nice. It would be nice.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
I mean, he is the kind of guy who could throw 100 pitches and have a shutout. He's that good when he's on, and hopefully tonight will be one of those on nights.
Yes, I would support. Yes, absolutely. I'm just hoping that the offense just shows up like they did. But we know that the history of when they have a big offensive night, an explosion, the next night doesn't always show up that way. But it's the playoffs; anything can happen. So, very exciting.
Right. On paper, it's a sweep.
Oh God, I would love to celebrate tonight a sweep and not have to worry. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I mentioned there is, even though we are going to probably see him different times in the series, but Tommy Edman is going to be kind of watched a little bit closer. So still nursing that ankle. Steve, like, what's your concern level for Edman throughout the playoffs? Because this looks like that's going to be soon.
It's not a huge level of concern, because I'm not really hoping for a lot out of Edmund, because he's been so knocked around this year. I guess, if he can only play second base and he's not going to play outfield, that would be okay, because I think there's enough to cover the outfield. I mean, I'm not in love with the outfield we've got right now. It's just not a really good defensive outfield. Justin Dean is pretty good, and Andy Pajas has a good arm, but I mean, you're not going to start Justin Dean, and Teo has his issues, I guess we could call them, in the outfield. So it's just not a really good defensive outfield, and that could come back to bite you. And you like to have Tommy Edman out there because he does provide a good glove. So I guess give him a few days, and hopefully he can be back on his feet, maybe by the NLCS if we get there.
Yeah, I'm going to be hopeful, but I want to give a shout out to some people we see in the chat. Deem Cell, I see Cody there, and definitely I want to thank everyone for coming to our live, because we are going to go pre and post game for as long as we are in the playoffs. So definitely want to encourage everyone to join us. We love talking baseball. We'll definitely interact with you. So if you have any questions, always throw them in. We'll also take super chats. We're going to turn our attention now to predictions. So I was way off last night. I was predicting a much closer game, but we'll call our shots tonight. Anthony, I'll start with you. What do you think the score will be? We'll see who gets closer at the end of the night.
I'm gonna stick with 5-2. I think it's gonna be one of those kind of close games early on, and the Dodgers offense just kind of breaks through late in the game, whether it's the 6th, 7th inning, and then once we hit the 7th inning, we kind of hold on to our butts, because we'll see who's going to close out that game. But yeah, 5-2. I think that's what I'm going to stick with.
5-2. Steve, what are you thinking we're going to end with tonight?
When I made my prediction at the beginning of the series, I said this game was going to be 6-1, I think, and I'll stick with that, 6-1. I think they give enough run support, and Yamamoto is Yamamoto.
I love it.
And
I
and look for Emmett Sheehan tonight. I have a feeling we're going to see him on the mound tonight.
Yeah, I would not be mad at that. I love Emmett Sheehan. I feel like he's just been just a really solid piece this year for us. And coming back from surgery, I just felt like that was such a delight to see him on the mound. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit more distance. I'm going to go, it's going to be a 7-3 game tonight. Dodgers win. And we are going to be celebrating a sweep of the Reds, getting ready for the NLDS. We'll talk all about it after the show. But yeah, Steve, tell everyone where they can find your work because we want to make sure that everyone gets to read these amazing articles you write.
Yeah, we are cranking them out on DodgersBeat.com. We put I think 20 articles out yesterday about the beginning of the series. So there's lots of content. So DodgersBeat.com is where you can find my work, and occasionally doing social media at Dodgers Web on X.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, we've got Doom Sal again. Thank you for joining us. You've been very active in our chat, and we're definitely going to give you a shout out. Thank you for all the comments and for participating in the conversation with us. And he gives a shout out to all of you guys. Steve, he's talking to you too. He says he feels Sasaki is going to come behind Yamamoto tonight. So we'll see if that happens.
Little Japanese double play there.
There you go, right? So we'll see if that happens.
Fans in Tokyo will love it.
They will go crazy. So definitely looking forward to the game, which is going to start, first pitch is 6:08. It is 5:55 right now. Yeah, thank you for everyone for joining us. If you want to find us on our social media handles, definitely check out Anthony on X and Instagram at Anthony Acosta _ You can find me on Instagram and X at Ravine Queen 1958. And Steve just let you know, you can find him at Dodgers Web. That's WEBB, Dodgers Web. And make sure to join us after the show. So yeah, DodgersBeat.com, Rogers Gate, and all the great footage. And we'll have Cody joining us after the show for post-show as well. So have a wonderful game. We will see you after the show. Let's go Dodgers.
All right.
Let's go Dodgers.